I'm an artist, Leonard Koscianski, and I'm going to talk to you about one of my latest creations called Stormy Days. It's an oil painting. It's about 30 by 40 inches, oil on canvas, and it all begins here with a gift that I received for my 16th birthday. A bike, a 10-speed bike, a Huffy 10-speed bike. I loved this bike. I took it everywhere. While I was a student at St. Ignatius High School in Cleveland, Ohio. One day, in my junior year, they announced an art contest, the first art contest in the history of St. Ignatius. Well, I used to do drawings for the poster club, for posters for football games and basketball games. I liked doing that. It was fun, but I never really thought of myself as an artist. Well, they announced this contest. And I would ride to school every day on a city bus. The school was downtown. And so on my way home, on the city bus, I did a little drawing on a sheet of paper. And I looked at it. I didn't like it too much. I folded it up. I put it in my back pocket and forgot all about it. That night, I threw my pants in the laundry. And the next day, when my mother was doing the laundry, she would go through my pockets to make sure get all the junk out. And she pulls out this drawing and says, "Rusty, what is this?" "Oh, my name's Rusty. I have three brothers. We all have nicknames. My nickname is Rusty." She said, "Rusty, what is this?" And I said, "Well, Mom, they have this art contest at school, and, well, I thought about entering it, but I'm not really sure. I'm not crazy about this idea." And my mother said, "Oh, no, Rusty, this is a good idea. You should really do something with this. Enter that contest." I said, "Okay, Mom, I'll do it." And so that weekend, I sat down and I did a drawing. And it took me the whole weekend to do the drawing. It's done with charcoal pencil and a little bit of watercolor. It's called The Cyclist in Watercolor. And it's black and white all the way throughout, birch trees and rain coming down and grass. But the cyclist is in color. And that was kind of the idea. Well, I finished the drawing. I matted it. And that Monday, I took it to school. And I entered it in the contest. I felt so self-conscious bringing that drawing to school. I walked in, and the entries were up on a stage. And I looked at those entries, and they were amazing. There were caricatures. There were portraits. There were landscapes. And I thought, oh, God, why am I embarrassing myself with this drawing? So I took it up onto the stage. I walked all the way into the back. I leaned it against the wall. I said, I don't want anybody to see this. And then I left. Well, that morning, they judged the art contest. And that afternoon, over the PA system, with the afternoon's announcements, they announced the winners. First, they announced third place. Then they announced second place, and then they announced first place, Leonard Koscianski. I couldn't believe it. This was the first time in my life I had ever come in first at anything. So from that day on, I started to think of myself as an artist, a bicycling artist. Decades later, I still love riding my bike. I ride it every Sunday morning, May through October. So while I was coming up with a new idea for a new painting, I did this drawing. It's about 5 by 8 inches. It's in ink, ballpoint pen, black Bic ballpoint pen on paper. And I like the idea. The cyclist riding along a road while the storm is marching in behind him. But it needed development. I developed the idea of the bicyclist a little bit more with some further drawings. After several attempts, I came up with this drawing, which I liked, which I felt could become a painting. So I drew a pencil grid over the top of the drawing that would help me to blow it up to a 30 by 40 inch painting. I had three bicyclists, birds, the clouds, the storm coming in, and the cyclists almost being chased by the storm into the foreground. But this is a small drawing. It's 5 by 8 inches in pen and ink. And as it gets bigger, as it gets blown up, I have to add more detail. I have to bring in more information. So I did some drawings in my sketchbook of the pose and the poses of the bicyclists. And this helped me to make the larger painting. This is the finished image. As I said, it's about 40 by 30 inches, oil on canvas. It's not a realistic painting. It's a surrealistic painting. It attempts to combine the outward appearance of things with our inward experience of those things. The outer reality versus our inner feelings and perceptions. Photographic reality versus our psychological state as we are experiencing that reality. In this painting, there are 3 cyclists, one up close, one off in the distance against the left side. The clouds are marching in. They are almost chasing the cyclists as they come forward. Here we have one of the bicyclists, and it was a challenge to create the pose and the bicycle. Also, in the distance, the sunlight shining through the clouds and dappling the distance, and the cyclists getting smaller the farther away they are. And the wispy clouds that sort of come over the top of them as they are being chased by the storm. Now this is an oil painting. It's a physical object. And when I was painting it, I used, to create the water, I first underpainted it with white, pure white, and then I created those swirly marks with a brush. After that was dry, I glazed a thin layer of blue over the top of that, and then wiped the top of the paint strokes with a rag. And this creates a more glowing, luminous color than what I could get just by painting it straight out. I painted the blades of grass one at a time, and the wispy clouds that come over the top. And those were a challenge too, because I had to make them look transparent. An oil painting is a physical thing. It needs to be experienced in person to get the full richness of it. Digital photographs, pictures in books, they don't convey the richness of an oil painting. The clouds need to be very dramatic. They're beautiful clouds. When a storm comes in, it's very dramatic. It's very beautiful. It's threatening. If we're caught in a storm, it's wet, it's windy, it's cold, it's dark. But from a distance, that approaching storm can look so dramatic and so beautiful. The dark clouds coming in over the top, they suggest that a rain is coming, that a storm is coming. When the painting was finished, I had to let it dry and then varnish it and then frame it. I'm a professional artist. This is not my hobby. In order for that painting to fulfill its purpose, it's important that I send it out into the world so that it can enrich the lives of other people. And the first step in that journey out into the world to enrich the lives of others is to send the painting to a serious art gallery. In this case, the Willott Gallery out in California, where they took the painting and they hung it on their walls where it is seen by hundreds, if not thousands of people. Now, I'm a father. I have children, and they insist that I ask you to please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe, and if you do, then my children will be happy, and we all want my children to be happy.